20 best views of the Grand Canyon ranked, plus helpful tips. There are an insane amount of amazing, life-changing views of the Grand Canyon, located on both rims. The vastness of this UNESCO World Heritage Site is hard to fathom, leaving viewers gazing out upon the depths of the Grand Canyon for hours at a time. Visiting the Grand Canyon for the first time is an experience you'll hold on to for the rest of your life. The pinnacle of that experience is the amazing views and overlooks of the Grand Canyon. I remember my first visit to the Grand Canyon, and the feeling of looking out from Mather Point for the first time. Since that first trip, I've returned several times and been to nearly all of the viewpoints and overlooks in the Grand Canyon. Many of the views of the Grand Canyon look similar, but there are enough distinct ones to really give you unique perspectives. In this article, I'll cover the top 20 best views of the Grand Canyon, ranking them from best to worst. I'll also include helpful tips for the best time to visit, whether or not it's a sunrise or sunset spot, versus ones that are great for midday, and how to get to each one. 20. Moran Point. Moran Point is named for the world-famous landscape artist Thomas Moran, whose paintings of the Grand Canyon captivated the country at the turn of the 20th century. The viewpoint is great on a partly cloudy day to see the deep contrasts of the Grand Canyon. Personally, I like this view at sunrise, but can't go wrong during any time of day. From the National Park Service. The layered Paleozoic rocks represent the sedimentary rocks that make up most of the Grand Canyon's depth. The Grand Canyon Supergroup represents a significant portion of the canyon's geologic record, even though it is only in isolated remnants, visible at only a few spots along the rim. This series of brilliant red rocks form the bed of the Colorado River and the wide slopes on either side below Moran Point. These rocks, originating millions of years ago as horizontal deposits of mud and sand, are tilted because of great movements of the Earth's surface before the formation of overlying rock layers. The Vishnu basement rocks are visible at river level further to the west, and are the oldest at the canyon, consisting of both metamorphic and igneous rock. Masonry found on the small butte on the right in this photo is believed to represent an ancient fort. This structure was built by early Native Americans. Several hundred dwelling sites, dating from a period a few centuries before the coming of Columbus, have been discovered along the rims and in the canyon. Many arrowheads, fragments of pottery, and other evidences of an advanced state of culture have been found near the ruins. 19. Shoshone Point. Best time to see this Grand Canyon viewpoint: sunset. About this Grand Canyon view. If you can believe it, Shoshone Point offers a more remote and lesser-traveled view of the Grand Canyon from the often overcrowded South Rim. Getting here requires a short drive or hike down a 3.6-mile dirt road. For folks looking to tie the knot at the Grand Canyon, this is a great spot, as it can be reserved for weddings and has seclusion, a rarity. From the National Park Service. The National Park Service offers a site on the south rim of Grand Canyon for reservation by groups wishing to host a wedding, celebrate a birthday, conduct a memorial service, hold a family reunion, or any similar non-commercial event. An unimproved dirt road leads to this isolated area with spectacular views of Grand Canyon. The site features a covered pavilion, picnic tables, grills, trash cans, and a vault toilet. There is no water or electricity at the site. Shoshone Point is the place for people who can be flexible with their planning and can deal with unpredictable Grand Canyon weather. 18. Grand Canyon Lodge. Best time to see this Grand Canyon viewpoint, afternoon and sunset. About this Grand Canyon view. As far as the most comfortable and luxurious views of the Grand Canyon go, none can compete with the views you can get from the Grand Canyon Lodge on the North Rim. There are two excellent views here available to the public. The first is from inside the lodge itself in the seating area with old-world leather couches, a grand fireplace, and stunning views of the Grand Canyon. The second is from just behind the lodge on the main terrace or patio seating area, where visitors can lounge and gaze upon the canyon. 17. Mary Coulter's Lookout Studio. Best time to see this Grand Canyon viewpoint, sunset or midday. About this Grand Canyon view. Mary Coulter's Lookout Studio is one of the several architectural wonders in the Grand Canyon designed by Mary Coulter. The other most famous of her works here is the Desert View Watchtower. The tower was designed to blend in seamlessly with the south rim of the Grand Canyon, where this viewpoint is located. According to the NPS, at Lookout Studio, visitors could view the features of the Grand Canyon and watch mule riders descending into the canyon. Like Hopi House, it was designed to imitate the stone dwellings of the Pueblo Indians of the Southwest. The chimney was made of irregular stones, which allowed soil and debris to collect between the cracks. Plants found a niche for growing, which further blended the building into its surroundings. A lounge was inside the studio with a fireplace and an art room where postcards and artwork were for sale. 16. Navajo Point. Best time to see this Grand Canyon viewpoint, sunset. About this Grand Canyon view. Located on the East Rim and situated at over 7,000 feet in elevation, Navajo Point is the highest viewpoint on the South Rim, offering one of the best Grand Canyon views of the Colorado River. From here you can see a great stretch of the mighty river that carved the Grand Canyon, as well as the Desert View Watchtower. The viewpoint is located just off Desert View Drive, less than a mile away from the Desert View area. 15. Bright Angel Point. Best time to see this Grand Canyon viewpoint, sunset. About this Grand Canyon view. Situated on the north rim of the Grand Canyon, Bright Angel Point is located less than half a mile down Bright Angel Point Trail behind the Grand Canyon Lodge. This is one of the better views of the Grand Canyon on the North Rim. All along the trail you'll be treated to increasing viewpoints until you reach the end of the trail. Neliatoista, Yavapai Point. Best time to see this Grand Canyon viewpoint, sunset. About this Grand Canyon view. Situated at over 7,000 feet in elevation, Yavapai Point is one of the highest viewpoints on the south rim of the Grand Canyon. From here visitors can see sweeping vistas of the canyon below. On a partly cloudy day, sunsets from here can be absolutely epic. 13. Powell Point. Best time to see this Grand Canyon viewpoint, sunrise or sunset. About this Grand Canyon view. Named for the famous explorer, John Wesley Powell, who completed the first known descent of the Colorado River through the Grand Canyon. This is a great west rim view of the Grand Canyon. Getting here is easy, as the overlook is located just off of Hermit Road. Sunrise and sunset are both great times to photograph Powell Point. 12. Hopi Point. Best time to see this Grand Canyon viewpoint, sunrise or sunset. About this Grand Canyon view. At 7,071 feet elevation, Hopi Point is one of the highest on the west rim of the Grand Canyon. This is one of the best viewpoints in the Grand Canyon, as it 270 unobstructed panoramic vistas. Sunrise is the best time to see this viewpoint, but sunset is great as well. One of the things that makes this overlook special is that it extends out farther into the canyon than most. From here, you can catch glimpses of the Colorado River down below. 11. Hermit's Rest. Best time to see this Grand Canyon viewpoint, sunset. About this Grand Canyon view. Located at the end of Hermit Road lies a great Grand Canyon viewpoint, Hermit's Rest. From here you can peer down deep into the canyon all the way to the Mite, Colorado, and see several side canyons. There's also a beautiful rest area here for visitors designed by Mary Coulter, who also designed other great Grand Canyon structures like Desert View Watchtower. 10. Grand View Point. Best time to see this Grand Canyon viewpoint, sunset or late afternoon. About this Grand Canyon view. The aptly named Grand View Point offers excellent panoramic views of the Grand Canyon from the South Rim. This is one of the more popular viewpoints on the South Rim for good reason. The viewpoint is located off of Desert View Drive and is easily accessed. 9. Yaqui Point. Best time to see this Grand Canyon viewpoint, sunset. About this Grand Canyon view. Yaqui Point offers some of the best views of the Grand Canyon, especially at sunset. The bad news is that it's a bit more difficult to access than most of the views, as visitors must ride the shuttle bus in order to make it here. The good news is that due to this relative remoteness, the crowds are far fewer than at most of the other South Rim views. From Yaqui Point, you can gaze out upon the South Kaibab Trail, down to Ooau Point, and far out into the Grand Canyon. 8. Lipan Point. Best time to see this Grand Canyon viewpoint, sunset. About this Grand Canyon view. Lipan Point is one of my personal favorite Grand Canyon East Rim views, offering really nice vistas that include the Colorado River. Sunsets from Lipan can be really spectacular as well. According to the NPS, from this viewpoint can be seen several points of interest. Hance Rapid is one of the many powerful whitewater rapids along the Colorado River. Unkar Delta was once home to ancestral Puebloan people and is the site of active archaeological study. The Grand Canyon Supergroup is a unique rock at Grand Canyon, found exposed at only a few places within the canyon. 7. Mather Point. Best time to see this Grand Canyon viewpoint, sunset or sunrise, to beat the crowds. About this Grand Canyon view. named for the famed former director of the National Park Service, Stephen Mather. Mather Point is the most famous Grand Canyon viewpoint. This was where I got my first glimpse of the epic wonder and most people's first exposure to the grandeur of this place. The drawback is the massive crowds that almost constantly swarm the viewing area, making it difficult to fully appreciate the scenery. Still, it's the one that everyone pretty much has to see, and no first-time Grand Canyon trip is complete without. 6. Pima Point. Best time to see this Grand Canyon viewpoint. About this Grand Canyon view. Located just off Hermit Road in the West Rim region of the Grand Canyon, Pima Point offers a fantastic overlook of the Grand Canyon. Down below you can see a really nice stretch of the mighty Colorado River, and sometimes even hear it if you listen closely on a quiet day. 5. Toroweap Overlook. Best time to see this Grand Canyon viewpoint. Sunset. About this Grand Canyon view. From a photographer's standpoint, it's hard to beat the stunning scenery of Toroweap Overlook, which gives you unparalleled stunning views way down the Colorado River. In fact, Toroweap is the only view of the Grand Canyon where the Colorado can be seen vertically below. While this viewpoint is one of the lowest in the Grand Canyon at just 3,000 feet above sea level, it's every bit as beautiful as the rest of them. Getting to Toroweap Overlook requires a serious commitment, as it's located nearly 7 hours driving from Grand Canyon Village on the South Rim, and nearly 5 hours from the North Rim Visitor Center. Note: the final 60 miles of the drive is down a rough dirt road, where a high-clearance vehicle is an absolute must. 4. Owl Point. Best time to see this Grand Canyon viewpoint. Morning. About this Grand Canyon view. How can you resist a viewpoint with such an enticing name as Owl Point? This is one of the most epic views of the Grand Canyon, as it is located 600 feet down into the canyon itself on the South Kaibab Trail. If you're up for the hike, I recommend starting early in the morning while the sun is lower and the heat is less. Getting to Owl Point requires a bit of effort, and returning from it requires about twice as much as it's all uphill. The point itself is located about 9 miles down the South Kaibab Trail from the trailhead, roughly 600 feet below the canyon rim. A wooden sign marks the spot that can't be missed. The dramatic panoramic views from Owl Point are unlike any in the park, and worth the go if you have the time. Keep in mind that every step you take down the trail is a step you'll have to take back up. 3. Point Imperial. Best time to see this Grand Canyon viewpoint. Sunrise. About this Grand Canyon view. I'd argue that the best place to see a sunrise in the Grand Canyon is at Point Imperial on the North Rim. Point Imperial is the highest of all the North Rim overlooks at 8,803 feet, and the highest point in Grand Canyon National Park. It is also the northernmost viewpoint in the Grand Canyon. This gives you a really unique perspective, which I really like. Looking out, you'll see a very distinct prominence called Mount Hayden, named for the former Arizona senator. Getting to the overlook is easy, as the overlook itself is just a few steps away from the parking area. 2. Cape Royal. Best time to see this Grand Canyon viewpoint, sunset. About this Grand Canyon view. The best place to see a sunset on the north rim of the Grand Canyon is undoubtedly Cape Royal. As the southernmost viewpoint on the north rim, Cape Royal has the greatest panoramas of any of the overlooks. Sunsets here are absolutely magical and seem to last forever. Looking out, you can see the epic Walhalla Plateau immediately before you, and the South Rim in the distance. From the Cape Royal parking area, the hike to the overlook is about 4 miles down a paved trail which amounts to a 10-15-minute stroll. 1. Desert view. Best time to see this Grand Canyon viewpoint, sunset. About this Grand Canyon view. Maybe this one is a bit sentimental for me, but I think there's no better way to cap a day at the Grand Canyon than soaking in an epic sunset from Desert View. I recall doing this with my brother and dad many years back, and thinking that it was the absolute perfect evening. From Desert View, you can see all the way down to the Colorado River in the distance. During sunset, the canyon lights up with vivid hues of red and purple that seem to last forever. For the best views, I recommend going just past the Desert View Watchtower, where you'll see benches and a railing. Be sure to show up about 30 minutes before sunset to soak in the whole show and get the best spot.